Well, hello there. Welcome in. Today it's all about makeup product reviews, and I have a nice blend of drugstore and high-end. I'm going to be talking about whether I liked them or not, how they performed, and whether I think they're worth the money if they're a little bit more expensive. If you're new here, I'm Kimberly. This is Pretty Over 50, where we talk everything makeup, skincare, and style for the over 50 woman. I hope you'll consider subscribing while you're here, and make sure you click that notification bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. And if you're interested in more makeup, skincare, and style for us over 50 gals, stop by prettyover50.com. There's so much great information just waiting for you there. As you might know, I've been on a makeup shopping spree and I've been trying so many new products. A lot of them I'm loving. Some I can say just aren't worth the investment. Today I'll be talking about the products that I've used enough to feel like I really have an opinion about them, and that's what I'm going to be sharing today. As always, all products that I mentioned today will be listed and linked below, and they'll also be over on the blog, so super easy for you to find. And with that, let's hop into the makeup reviews. The first product I want to talk about is this foundation from Dior. And you guys know I'm mostly a drugstore girl. It takes a lot for a high-end product to really earn my love. And I'll tell you, this absolutely has. This is the foundation that I have fallen in love with. I'm actually wearing it on my skin today. Every single time I've used this foundation, it's performed beautifully. It sits so nicely on my skin. It's very, very buildable. It gives me just the slightest little bit of dewy, glowy finish without being too dewy or too glowy. And it just covers up all my imperfections and gives my skin just an overall beautiful look. One thing I can say about this particular foundation, and I don't know if I gave you the whole name, this is the Forever Skin Glow by Dior, and I'm in the color 1N. My experience with this foundation is that it just performs so well. It evens out my skin tone, it never looks patchy, it blends out beautifully and stays on my skin just in such a lovely manner all day long. I have so many drugstore foundations that I really love, but I'll tell you, this is the one I've been reaching for lately if I want my skin to look really, really as good as it can. And that's the thing that I think I've noticed about this foundation is it makes my skin look a whole lot better. Not only does it even out my skin tone and cover up any imperfections like my sunspots and that sort of thing, but it makes my skin actually look more glowy, more youthful, and just better. That for me is a rare thing, particularly with my over 50 very mature skin. I'm actually over 60. So I'm really, really appreciating this foundation. It is a higher priced foundation, but I'll tell you what, I think it's worth it. It is really that good. It comes with a standard little pump, and here I'll put a little bit on the back of my hand so that you can see how it blends out. Look at that. It's just the most beautiful finish. It feels so great on the skin. It feels like a skincare going on. That's how moisturizing it is. And it leaves just the most beautiful finish on my complexion. You can see the finish on my hand right there. It's just so very pretty. It wears nicely throughout the day. It doesn't break down on me, and my skin looks just as good 4, 5, or 6 hours in as it does when I first apply it. So I can say one of my top makeup loves that are new finds for me lately is definitely this Dior Forever Skin Glow. Again, I'm in the color 1N. Let's hop into concealers now. You guys know I'm on the great concealer hunt. I'm buying almost every single concealer that I can find because I'm looking for the perfect concealer for my wrinkly, crinkly under eyes. And what I'm looking for is a concealer that not only covers up my dark spots, but actually makes my under eyes look better, kind of like the Dior foundation makes my skin look better. I'm looking for that in a concealer. I want the whole thing. I want my dark circles covered up. I want that skin to look very, very pretty. I want it to set down and look nice throughout the day. So I'm trying every single concealer. I don't know if my expectations are out of line or if I'll end up finding something that actually does tick all those boxes and meet that criteria. So you're going to be seeing a lot of concealers over the coming months because I'm buying so many of them. I think I have, gosh, 7 or 8 in my to-try makeup bucket right now. So you're going to be seeing a lot of concealers in the months to come. This is one of the concealers I tried this month, and this is from Hourglass, and it is their Vanish Concealer. This is a little sample size, and I don't know if you guys know this, but over on the Sephora website, there's a whole tab that you can click on that is sample or mini sizes. And that way you can try the more expensive products without going all in and paying for the full size, which actually I'm really glad that I didn't pay for the full size on this one because it didn't work out for me at all. This particular concealer, and I'll have to say this little mini size is really, really cute. I think I only paid $15 for it. And it's actually just the perfect color for me. You can see it right there. I like my under eyes to be a little bit brighter because my eyes are older, more mature, and they're not as taut as they used to be. So if I can get a little bit of brightening underneath it, it just makes my eyes look more wide awake and my face look a little bit fresher. This color for me is actually perfect to brighten up my under eyes. And the formula itself is actually fairly nice. It's not too creamy, it's not too stiff, it's kind of like right in between. I had very, very high hopes for this concealer, but unfortunately, it just didn't work out for me at all. While it did cover up my dark circles, it made my under eyes look terrible. They looked crepey and wrinkly, and this settled in my fine lines, and it ended up looking dry and cakey. It just wasn't a good fit for me. I did try this concealer several times, maybe 5 or 6 times, and every time I had high hopes, I would moisturize my under eyes. I'd put on just a very little bit, blend it in really well, set it very, very lightly, and still it just looked terrible underneath my eyes. I don't know why this would be, other than perhaps this is just a better concealer for someone with younger skin that doesn't have all that dryness and crepiness there. So unfortunately, the Hourglass Vanish Concealer was absolutely a pass for me. Another pass in the concealer category, and this is going to disappoint so many of you because this is the one concealer I had more of you than any other concealer recommend as just the best, the best, the best. And I've used it several times and I just can't figure out what I'm missing. This is the Pat McGrath Skin Fetish Concealer. Now this concealer comes in kind of a system. It not only comes with the concealer right here, but a setting powder, and then they actually have a brush as well. So many of you said that was absolutely your favorite, that it worked beautifully for you. And I've seen so many other YouTubers talk about this, that it is their holy grail and there's nothing as good. I was so excited to try this. I ended up getting the concealer and the setting powder. The concealer comes with a standard doe foot applicator, and I'll show you the color that I got right here. This is L5 Sublime. The setting powder is really darling. It comes in this tiny little compact. It does have a mirror, and then the light powder is right here. I used this combination probably 4 or 5 times, and it just didn't work for me. Again, it did cover up my dark circles, but it didn't do my under eyes any favors. I tried a little bit, I tried a little bit more, I used the setting powder, I used the setting powder differently, I set it with a setting spray. I went through a lot of different iterations trying to use this concealer and have it really, really work for me. And I kept saying to myself, what am I missing? Because I know so many of you really, really love this concealer and the setting powder. It just didn't do my under eyes any favors. It wasn't as bad as the Hourglass, but then again, it just didn't make my under eyes look better. And that's one thing I'm looking for. It did get a little bit dry and cakey. It settled in my fine lines a little bit and would kind of break up throughout the day. So unfortunately for me, and probably for some of you guys as well, the Pat McGrath Skin Fetish Concealer and Setting Powder didn't work for me as a combination. Now, one thing I can say is this setting powder is really, really good. If you're looking for a higher end luxury setting powder for underneath your eyes, I can say this is a nice formula. It's very, very soft and finely milled. You can see it right here, and it does have the advantage of lightening up your under eyes a little bit. You can see it right there. I do like some lightness underneath my under eyes, so when I'm using a concealer that doesn't give me the brightness that I like to see, I'll go ahead and add some of this, and it really does a nice job. So what I can say is between the two, this setting powder is really beautiful. The concealer from Pat McGrath unfortunately didn't work for me. I actually have a concealer that really knocked my socks off this month, and it was so surprising to me. It was the last one on my list that I thought would be something that I would enjoy. When I looked at all the concealers I have to try, this is the last one on the list that I thought would be any good. This is from Neutrogena, and it is their Hydro Boost Concealer. This is a drugstore product. And here's where it gets even wilder. This is a stick concealer. I'll tell you what, before I tried this, I would just look at it and my under eyes would dry up thinking about using this. I bought this because I saw someone else, and I'm not really sure who it was. It might have been Emily Noel. Used it and she said she really liked it, and I thought, well, I'll give it a whirl. I'm sure it's not going to work for my very mature under eyes, but I went ahead and bought it anyway. Well, guess what? It blew my mind when I used it. I did use it in a Get Ready With Me video, and it was the first time I used it, and the reaction I had cracked you guys up. I'll go ahead and list that video down below if you'd like to see me using this concealer for the first time. This is an amazing formulation. It comes in this little stick, and I'm not sure if you can see it right now, but there's a little core inside of here that is a moisturizing core. And it really does a beautiful job of covering up my dark circles and making my under eyes look a little bit better. I'm actually wearing it today, and every single time I use this concealer, I am blown away. I don't have to be super careful on how much I use. I've actually gone twice in with the concealer and not have it cake up or look heavy on my under eyes. It blends in beautifully. It looks moisturizing but doesn't settle into my fine lines. It's really an amazing formula. It just cracks me up that this is a stick concealer and at a drugstore price. The only thing that I wish was a little bit different with this concealer is this is the lightest color. I think it's fair light. I wish it was a little bit lighter or a little bit more brightening. You can see it on the back of my hand. It does cover up my dark circles and make my under eyes look a little bit more hydrated, but it certainly doesn't brighten them. However, I found a little fix for that, and I'll be sharing that product with you in just a second. So far in my concealer hunt, this is my favorite formula, the Neutrogena Hydro Boost Concealer. I can't say right now if this is going to be in the top 4, the top 5, or even the top 1. I haven't tried all the concealers that I'm going to try, but I'm going to keep you guys posted on the concealers that are at the top of my list, and this definitely is. So super surprised at how good this concealer is for my over 50, over 60, very crinkly, wrinkly, dry under eyes. Now I want to show you what I've been using with that Neutrogena concealer to make my under eyes look a little bit brighter. Am I blinding you with this? This is the Fenty Beauty Powder, and it is actually their lavender powder, and you can see it right here. This is a beautiful powder. I have been using it to set my under eyes with when I use that Neutrogena concealer. This has just the tiniest bit of lavender coloration, so when I use it to set that concealer, it really does brighten my under eyes. You can see it right there. Now, it's not as bright as some brightening under eye formulas, but it really does open up that area. I used the powder underneath my eyes today, and I think it did a nice job of just giving a subtle brightness to that area. This powder, again, is so light and so beautiful. I think the real subtle lavender tone really does a beautiful job of adding a little bit of brightness. I sometimes use it down around my nose and more into this area to give myself a little bit more luminosity and openness in those areas. So for me, the Fenty Beauty Powder in Lavender, I really do appreciate it. This container looks very, very tiny, but you don't need very much of the powder. I think it's going to last me quite a long time. So I'm a super big fan of this one. We're gonna hop into another high-end product right now. This is the Rare Beauty Blush in Nearly Neutral. Isn't that just the cutest packaging you've ever seen? I think this is the favorite packaging I have of any of my makeup products. It's just adorable, and it gets better. When you open it up, I mean, how cute is that? It looks like a little macaroon inside the container. It does have a nice mirror, and the compact itself is just so adorable. This blush formula is really, really beautiful. It's very, very creamy, almost oily in the way that it feels. It is so hydrating on the skin. Here's what it looks on the back of my hand, and it is the blush that I'm using today. I simply take a little bit on 2 fingers just like that and tap it over my cheeks. My experience with this blush is that it's beautiful. It goes on really nicely. It blends in beautifully and it looks great on my skin. It does last for several hours and doesn't just fade away. What I can say about this particular blush is the packaging is glorious, the product is wonderful, but I do have other drugstore blushes that I think are just as good and look just as good on the skin as this one. For instance, my Honest Beauty blush in Pink Rose. I do have a Super Shock blush from ColourPop that I like just as well. So while I think that this packaging is absolutely beautiful and the product is wonderful, I think that there are a lot of drugstore dupes that are going to perform just as good as this one. However, if you're looking for an absolutely darling compact, I can tell you this is the ticket. Into a wonderful drugstore product right now. This is the Skin Lights Highlighter from Revlon. Have you tried this? Oh my goodness. This is so very beautiful. Look at that. Isn't that glorious? This is the color Daybreak Glimmer, and you can see it there on the back of my hand. Isn't that just so very pretty? I love this highlight, and actually this is the one that's been staying on my makeup table in my regular rotation. It is so pretty. It is so smooth on the skin. It blends in beautifully. It's actually what I'm wearing today. Here. I'll put just a little bit more on. I love the color. It's at a drugstore price. This is really, really a beautiful highlighter. It does come in several different colors. This one I think is perfect for my skin tone. I have found this to be just really reliable, always looks beautiful, doesn't make my wrinkles look a little bit more noticeable, and just gives me that perfect amount of highlight and glow on my skin. Another wonderful drugstore highlight, the Skin Lights from Revlon. I actually found a new brow product that I really, really love. You guys know I've been using the retractable brow pencil for a long, long time. I tried other high-end products and other drugstore products and never found anything that I liked better. Well, now I have. This was actually recommended to me from my friend Mel at Mel C's Makeup and Style. She has a beauty channel for us mature gals here on YouTube. We did a collab where we each selected 5 products for the other person to try 5 of our favorite products. And I'll go ahead and list that video down below if you missed it. In that video, one of the 5 products that Mel recommended was this brow pencil. This is the Maybelline Ultra Slim Brow Pencil, and I have it in the color Blonde. I am so thrilled to find this brow pencil. Here's what I like about it. First of all, the pencil itself is super, super tiny. You can see it right there. I mean, it is, when they say slim, they're not kidding. My problem when I come across these super slim brow pencils is that they're generally only good for doing the detail work on my brows, that it would take me forever to fill in my whole brow with a pencil as slim as this. That's not the case with this pencil. It has a nice combination of being soft enough to fill my brows in quickly, but then hard enough to do the detail work without getting gummy. It really is a great brow pencil, and at a drugstore price, it's just such a find. Here's the color right here, and it's actually what I'm wearing on my brows today. I like the fact that I can fill my brows in and do the detail work of my brows with just this one pencil, and I really, really like that color. In addition, one of the things that Mel pointed out is that the spoolie is really soft, and she's right. It's not a very big spoolie, but it does feel very, very good on your brows when you use it. So a big hit for me this month, the Maybelline Brow Ultra Slim Brow Pencil. I have a new favorite. One product I want to talk about today is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Eyeshadow Primer. I've had this for a long time, and I've talked with you guys about it before. It wasn't a favorite for me because the formula is much thicker than my Milani. However, one of the cool things about this particular eyeshadow primer is that it is very, very opaque. You can see it right here, and you can also see it on my finger. One of the advantages to it being this opaque is that it does cover up any discoloration on your eyelids, like veining or redness, or that sort of thing. One of the reasons that I was hesitant to use this on a daily basis is that the formula is a little bit thicker. I pulled it out and started using it a couple of weeks ago, and you know, I'm kind of fallen in love with it. I've learned to put a very, very thin coat on my eyelids, and I'm really liking the fact that it does cover up a lot of my discoloration and really preps my eyelids very, very well for eyeshadow. In addition, that color really makes my eyeshadow pop against my skin. I'm kind of changing my opinion about this, where I thought it was too heavy for my more mature lids. Now that I've really worked on getting a very, very thin coating of it on my eyelids, I'm really, really liking it. And this is the one that I'm reaching for over my Milani. You can see that this is the tiniest little container, and you know what? This is a sample size from Sephora, and I think they sell it for $12 or $15. It's very, very affordable. And by golly, I use so little for both my eyelids that I imagine this is going to last me 6 months, 8 months, or more. With that price point for the sample size, I think this is a great value and really has become my favorite eyeshadow primer. Oh boy, do I have a great new mascara to share with you today, and this is also from Mel at Mel C's Makeup and Style. She recommended this mascara. I had never used it. I hadn't even heard of it. This is the Maybelline Sky High Lash Sensational Mascara. Oh my gosh, you guys, I cannot believe how lengthening and volumizing this mascara makes my lashes look. It's what I'm wearing on my lashes today. It is so very good. It lengthens my eyelashes more than any other drugstore mascara I have tried, and I think more than most of my high-end mascaras. It comes in this beautiful little tube. It's kind of sort of a soft purpley pink, really, really pretty. And the mascara wand is actually one that I really like. It's more of the rubberized version. So if you don't like these rubber mascara wands, this won't work for you. But if you do, this is a good one. And I'm going to show you an interesting thing about this wand. Look it. It bends. So it makes it really easy to work with your eyelashes because that wand itself is so flexible. My experience with this mascara is that it goes on so easily. It doesn't clump up at all, so I'm not working to get clumps out, and it lengthens in the first coat. It really, truly does. What I'll do is I'll put down a first coat, let it dry for a minute or two, and then I'll go in with the second coat. When I do the second coat, I mainly just focus on the top half of my lashes because what I'm looking for is to lengthen those lashes all the way up. So I focus on the middle of the lash all the way up to the top. This mascara has been so easy to work with, and you know, it's not the kind of formula that you have to open up and let it sit for a little while before it gets good. This was good the first time I used it. I've used it probably 6 or 7 times now, and every single time it's been easy. My lashes look fabulous. It doesn't smudge all day long, and that's a big issue for me, not smudging, and then it comes off easily at night. So what I can say is, boy, the drugstore is just kicking it lately. This Maybelline Sky High Mascara is really so very good. Thank you, Mel. I want to finish up with a couple of lip products now. One is high-end and one is drugstore. The first one is the drugstore choice, and it has a feature that is so amazing it blew my mind when I used it. This is another pick from Mel and another one that I had not tried at all. This is the Revlon Colorstay Satin Ink, and can you look at how beautiful that packaging is? It is really just so very pretty. I got it in the color 007, Partner in Crime. I mean, that's a cute name, don't you think? And I really love this neutral color. What Mel said about this, and I didn't believe it when she first said it, I thought, this is impossible, that can't happen, is she says that it stays moist on your lips because this is a liquid lipstick and we all know how drying they can be. She said this stays on your lips, it stays hydrated, it makes your lips feel moist, and it doesn't come off. And I thought, that can't happen. Well, guess what? That's exactly what it does. In that video I'll link down below, I show you how I have it on my lips. It's been on my lips for 5 or 10 minutes. I touch my lips with my finger and nothing comes off, and yet my lips felt moisturized. I don't know how they do it. So this is the color right here. This is such a beautiful color. If you're close to my coloring and skin tone, I can say this is really a pretty neutral shade. And watch this. I'm going to try it with my finger. I don't know if it's going to work as well as it did with my lips. So there it is on my hand, and you can see it still looks fairly moist. I'm going to touch it with my finger and look, nothing comes off. I don't know how they do that, but they did. And that's one of the things Mel talked about with this lipstick. She has several and has worn them quite a bit more than I have. She says her lips stay moist and yet it doesn't come off. I think that's truly amazing. So the Revlon Colorstay Satin Ink, pretty cool little product, gorgeous color in Partner in Crime. I received a PR package from Huda Beauty and did a get ready with me earlier in the month. I'll go ahead and list it down there. In that video, I tried this lipstick they sent me, and this is called Girls Trip. This is my favorite nude lip color ever. You know how hard it is to find the perfect nude for your coloring? Because everybody's different. Your hair color is a little different, your skin tone's a little different, your eyes are a little different, everything's different. Finding that perfect nude color can really be a challenge. This one is the perfect nude color for me, and I just fell in love with it. Here it is, and what I love about this lip color is not only the beautiful color, but the formula is exceptional. It's very creamy, it just goes on beautifully, it wears really nicely. But this particular color, I've worn it with different color lip liners and it tones and tints out so beautifully. This was such a surprise for me because I had never used anything from Huda Beauty before I did that video. I find this to be so comfortable to wear. It really is a beautiful lip formula. The Huda Beauty and Girls Trip, my current favorite neutral lip color. Those are my makeup reviews for today. Some of these products I've absolutely fallen in love with. I hope you found it useful, helpful, and fun. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Make sure you stay tuned because I have so much new makeup I'm trying. I'm sure there's going to be lots of reviews in the months to come, and I'd love to have you join me. If you're new here, make sure you smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. And if you're interested in more makeup, skincare, and style for us over 50 gals, stop by prettyover50.com. There's so much great information just waiting for you there. It just thrills me when you take a few minutes out of your day to spend it with me. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you. Again, I'm Kimberly. This is Pretty Over 50, where we talk everything makeup, skincare, and style for the over 50 woman. Make it a great day. Wear your sunscreen and all. See you in the next video. Bye now.